You're watching NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. We are tracking the big Bangladesh story amidst a low turnout and boycott of the Bangladesh general elections. Incumbent Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has secured a fifth term in office after Awami League party secured two-thirds majority in the polls. Being elected for a fifth term as the Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina has become the world's longest-serving female head of state. Bangladesh elections of 2024 saw a considerably low voter turnout of 40%. Meanwhile, the question remains, what impact will it create on geopolitics? Joining us at this point is Manju Seth, former diplomat. We also have Major General Gigi Dwivedi, strategic affairs analyst, joining us live. Gautam Mukherjee is also live with us, senior journalist. Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, joins us live as well. Let me begin with you first, Manju Seth. On your first reading of the Bangladesh elections, this was surely a given that Sheikh Hasina was coming back. But how do you see the results, the turnout, and how it all panned out?
The elections, I think, whoever has voted, it seems like it was free, no coercion, there was no violence. And I think the boycott by the opposition party has, I think, in a small way undermined the election process. But at the same time, it is important that we understand the dynamics that are at play in Bangladesh, and it is a good sign that she has won, and it was expected that she would win these elections. And from the geopolitical if you angle see it, I think it's an important victory for continuity and because her policies have been balanced and they reflect Bangladesh's interest at every point of time. So I think it is a positive outcome, and even from India's point of view, it is a positive outcome and an important country and a neighboring country for India. And I think a good sign that, I mean, there were also talk that because of the low turnout and many, the seats may not go in her favor, but she may not get a full majority. That has been belied by so far the unofficial results that have come out. I'm not sure if the Election Commission has already announced the results. And so it's a good and a good sign for Bangladesh and for Bangladesh-India relations. For that.
Yes. Major General Dwivedi, come in here on your first reading of the results. The fact that she's got a two-third majority, overwhelming majority secured by the Awami League was, of course, very expected. But your first comment on the results, how the polling process panned out, obviously a very low voter turnout also being witnessed.
Well, Uday, I think the results are as expected, and it was quite well on the cards that Sheikh Hasina will get majority, and all expected that it will be a landslide victory, and to that extent, I don't think there is any surprise. It has been as per the expectation and as I think predicted. But more importantly, you asked a question in the previous from the previous panelist that how do we read the geopolitics? Now that's very important. I would say that it has to be viewed from bifocal lens. Firstly, internal. I don't think BNP is going to digest the results. They will be up against whole game and try to create instability inside the country. And therefore, I think that is what I expect, that these results, and they'll also play out the low voter turnout and the boycott. So I think that kind of instability they would try to create. That's what the current government will have to handle. As far as the external dynamics are concerned, I think in the neighborhood it's a very positive development because continuity, stability, and Bangladesh is on a progressive path, and guys like me who fought for the independence of Bangladesh, we feel very elated. And I think it comes as a great satisfaction that Bangladesh is making tremendous progress. Their GDP is about $420 billion. In the PPT terms, they are, in fact, ahead of India. But once again, the Western countries, especially US, I don't think that they are going to, again, they take the result very positively. They will try to play out the human resource angle, HR angle, and also the elections. They will say that not been very fair, but that's all that the Bangladesh government will have to handle. And my last point is that India needs to stand by Bangladesh in these pressure times, and also I think we need to ensure that our relationship get further momentum and further consolidated, because they are already on a very positive wicket. And I think in time to come, this will get consolidated further. Uday.
Yes, let me in fact quickly also take that across to Professor Madhav Nalapat. Professor Madhav Nalapat, it's certainly a big win once again for Sheikh Hasina. She secured a 5th term for herself. But your first comment to the voter turnout, the boycott, the situation within Bangladesh that the country is seen through these elections.
Uday, if you look at several Western countries, this is about the rough turnout of an election. In many elections, you have this kind of a turnout. So just, the relatively lower turnout compared to, for example, an Indian election, I don't think that should be a factor in which one should judge the election and the sanctity of the ballot box and the election process. And also let me point out that if there was really a groundswell of opinion against Sheikh Hasina, in every seat there were independents and others who were contesting. And if there was that kind of a groundswell, these individuals have done very well indeed. And in some, in many cases, they may have won. It will be fairly easy to decipher in a constituency which independent has the strongest potential. And then the protest vote could have gone to that independent. So the fact is the protest vote was very limited. So the polls were, in my view, they were well conducted. Bangladesh was teeming with foreign observers. They were looking into every aspect of the election, and most of them wanted to try and delegitimize the election. So they were basically looking at it through a microscope. From that point of view, I don't see any protest voting. And secondly, the turnout that we are talking about, yes, it is a low turnout. But remember, Uday, in several democracies in the world, you have a similar turnout. So overall, I'd say it's a very positive development. As far as the future is concerned, I quite agree that the BNP will try and take to the streets. And I think Sheikh Hasina will be very firm in stopping that, for the simple reason that if you take to the streets, it means you are consigning Bangladesh again to poverty, the same kind of poverty that they had when they were under the grip of the Pakistan military or parties affiliated with the Pakistan military. So I think that would be a wrong thing to do. I think it's important for everybody to accept this verdict and to work hard so that the success story of Bangladesh becomes even better in the future. And the last point today, it cannot become better in the future without a good relationship with India. Any country in the subcontinent, in South Asia definitely, cannot really have a strong, stable economy without good relations with India. You're seeing what's happening in Pakistan. It's no accident that country is hostile to India. Had it been friendly to India, the way Sheikh Hasina has been in allowing transit and transport and trade, well, the Pakistan situation may have been very different. Today it is Pakistan that's a basket case and Bangladesh that's an example of success.
Yes, let me in fact quickly take that to Gautam Mukherjee as well. Gautam, your first comment on these election results, what the ramifications will be going ahead for Bangladesh and also for our country's relations with Bangladesh. Gautam? Okay, I think we've lost Gautam, unfortunately. Ambassador Majid, let me quickly draw you back in here on your assessment of where India-Bangladesh relations now stand. We did see a comment yesterday from Sheikh Hasina on India as well, interestingly, after casting a vote. But where do things go henceforth in this new term under her?
Definitely, we should expect the positive trajectory in our relations to continue. But of course, she will also see what is in her country's interest. And I think there has been in the recent times, we have seen how Bangladesh has been trying to balance its relationships with other countries as well as with China, which has been quite active in Bangladesh. But as far as India-Bangladesh goes, I think we've had a very strong relationship, and I think that will continue, and a very strong foundation for our relationship, including in trade and every possible, area. Our relationship is very, very strong. We have a very close partnership with Bangladesh in terms of infrastructure and even in energy. We have been recently the pipeline that has been constructed. I think all these things will continue and will strengthen further in the coming years, and especially under the rule of Sheikh Hasina, because we expect that she will continue. And as Professor Nalapat said, Bangladesh has been doing well. It will continue to do well, and she wants to take her country on that path. And along with India, I think collaboration and cooperation will continue, especially as we know in the past, some terror organizations had been given some shelter in Bangladesh by the previous, by the other opposition party when it was in power, BNP. So that at least will not be allowed, those terrorist elements will not be allowed to function from Bangladesh, from the territory of Bangladesh against India.
Right.
And that's a positive development. And I think this will continue, and I can only see our relationship going stronger and stronger.
Okay. Let me bring in another guest, in fact, another special guest joining us from Bangladesh. Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry is joining us now, editor, Blitz in Bangladesh. Salahuddin Chaudhry, your first comment on the results, how they are being perceived in Bangladesh. What are the first statements that Sheikh Hasina has put out, and what is the opposition saying to this victory of hers?
Thank you very much. As you know, that yesterday's election was very free and fair. That's why we have seen that 3 ministers of this government, they were defeated by the independent candidates. So there is no question about this election being held free and fair. Now about the voter turnout, the low voter turnout, I mean, as Professor Madhav said, that it happens in many other countries in the world. Now for Sheikh Hasina, on 7th of January, it was an international conspiracy by the Biden administration to destabilize Bangladesh and turn it into a neo-Taliban state, and with the help and cooperation with our neighbors, Bangladesh and Awami League has successfully avoided that risk of becoming a neo-Taliban state. And now Sheikh Hasina will look forward to a further cooperation with our friendly neighbors, including India. She will focus more on fighting terrorism and religious extremism. She will focus on progress and prosperity and economic prosperity of this country. At the same time, for Sheikh Hasina now, it is very important not only to keep the radical Islamists and jihadists and caliphate mongers on check. I think, in my opinion, Sheikh Hasina is going to now go for a very tough crackdown on the Islamist, jihadists, and caliphate mongers. And I do honestly hope that at the same time, Sheikh Hasina will ensure that the cases of persecution of Hindus in this country, this will stop forever, because this kind of culture of Hindu persecution was introduced by Bangladesh Nationalist Party and Jamaat-e-Islami, and Bangladesh should uphold its key principle of remaining as a secularist nation. We should not become an Islamist nation. We should not behave like a bankrupt nation like Pakistan. We should not behave like Iran. We are a secularist nation, and we must uphold that thing. And I sincerely hope that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will do that. And with this hope, I can only say that yesterday's result is already being accepted by the international community. India, Russia, China, Bhutan, they have already congratulated Sheikh Hasina. We all of us quite understand the reason behind delay of Biden in congratulating Sheikh Hasina, because yesterday Joe Biden's conspiracy of turning Bangladesh into a neo-Taliban state has been totally foiled.
Yes, but Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, now what about Bangladesh relations with India? What is the Bangladesh perspective on where things stand currently and which direction we are headed in?
Bangladesh, I mean, Bangladesh, if you are talking about Bangladesh.
I want the, yeah, you're hearing the New Delhi viewpoint from our other guests. I would like the Dhaka viewpoint from you.
No, I mean, if you're talking about Bangladesh relationship with India,
Yes.
Sheikh Hasina has yesterday said, immediately after the election, she said, we are grateful to India. India is our great friend, and we look forward to further strengthening relationship with India and every other country in the world.
Yes. Also, on the BNP now, what is going to be their strategy? They boycotted the elections. Are they going to continue these protests on ground? What is their strategy going to be? Has anyone spoken yet from the party?
BNP has become a bankrupt party from yesterday. And BNP's policy is anti-India, anti-Hindu, pro-Jihad, pro-Islam. So I don't think now, after yesterday's election, BNP will find any ground in Bangladesh. And anyone asking BNP, why did not they join this election? Why did they boycott this election? I have also told you yesterday on your show that, I mean, BNP was expecting that Biden will have them and toppling down Sheikh Hasina or staging a Bangla Spring like Iran and an Islamic revolution and turn Bangladesh into a neo-Taliban state and bring Khaleda Zia's convicted terrorist son, Tariq Rahman, from London and make him a caliph, emir of the caliphate. So those dreams, those delusions has been bogged down into the deep waters of Bay of Bengal. I don't find any reason at all for BNP coming back with any kind of anarchism. But of course, now they will resort to secret terrorist activities with the help of TTP and other Pakistani terrorist group, and also Paresh Barua. They're already planning that. At the same time, BNP will intensify media assault on Awami League and Sheikh Hasina by spending millions of dollars in the Western countries on its lobbyists and peer agencies. BNP's protest, as you are asking me, will be a paper protest onwards. Sheikh Hasina is not going to allow any kind of anarchism and terrorist activities in this country. The way she has fought terrorism for the last 15 years, now Sheikh Hasina will intensify her fight against terrorism, and BNP will have no ground to create any anarchism in this country.
Okay, let me take that across to Major General Dwivedi as well. Major General Dwivedi, obviously, BNP, bankrupt party, they're clearly rattled by these results, is what Salahuddin is saying. But Major General Dwivedi, what is your outlook, of course, on now the way forward for Bangladesh-India ties under Sheikh Hasina, and more importantly, on what the kind of response is going to be to those allegations of meddling as well that were being put on both, interestingly, the US and China through this election?
I think the policies of both the countries are very clear. As far as India is concerned, we have a neighborhood first policy, and that has been, I think, doing great dividends have been accruing from that policy. And as far as Bangladesh is concerned, I think Madam Sheikh Hasina has had a very well calibrated approach to her policy of the nation, and she has put prosperity, progress as the first. And her policy basically is very balanced, and it is friendship with all, malice with none, and that's what she will try to take it forward. I'm here. There's a little bit of sensitivity because Bangladesh has a very good relation with China, and Chinese have invested in a big way in Bangladesh. So that sensitivity will have to be taken care of. The second point is, of course, the internal stability, the jihadi element, anti-India element, inimical element, which will try to make best of this situation along with BNP, and of course not to wish away Pakistan, because Pakistan has a inherent interest in destabilizing Bangladesh because they are never reconciled with the independent Bangladesh as a nation, and more so when they are doing so well, much better than what Pakistan is doing. So all I can say is that I think here astute diplomacy will be very important. Secondly, we need to bridge the differences. There are certain differences which there always be in any democratic setup, and overall I feel that the relation will move forward, and maturity of the leaders on both sides, they will ensure that there are no irritants, and end of it, I wish Bangladesh the very best, because as I said, fought for the freedom of this country, and they take great pride when Bangladesh does well. Veteran like me, we feel very elated, and we feel rather blessed that we were part of this great story. And I think Bangladesh has great future.
Yes, yes, and clearly the warm India ties, of course, came out interestingly, Professor Nalapad, on the day Sheikh Hasina voted. She obviously had a lot else to think about, but she made it a point to also speak on India after casting her vote yesterday, which Salahuddin Chaudhary was just referring to. You heard the Dhaka viewpoint from him. Your reaction to him, what is the New Delhi viewpoint on these ties? And then you can, of course, respond to what he said on the status too.
Look, there's no question that India is a strong believer in democracy in Bangladesh, and a strong believer in Sheikh Hasina as a very able administrator and leader. Sheikh Hasina knows India very well. In fact, during a time when her life was in danger, and even now her life is in danger because of terrorist elements, India was the refuge of what was left of the family after the horrible murders perpetrated by Pakistan with the active assistance of China and the United States. And again, China and the United States have come together. I mean, it is amazing. One thing on which the United States and China completely worked together was basically to try and destabilize Sheikh Hasina, because they do not want a government that is in any way friendly to India. And Uday, I just want to say, please don't underestimate the power of the Chinese lobby and the Wahhabi lobby in the United States. Look at the power of the Wahhabi lobby. Look what happened in Afghanistan. It basically, they just ran away from Afghanistan. The US military just ran away from Afghanistan as a consequence of the orders of the White House. It is a pathetic spectacle. Look at the huge abuse and calumny heaped on Mohammed bin Salman. Mohammed bin Salman is the first Al-Saud to basically condemn Wahhabism. I supported that. I stood by him right from the beginning. But what did you see? You saw Western countries turn against him because of the powerful Wahhabi lobby that was trying to fight Mohammed bin Salman. And America, unfortunately, the lobby is so powerful that there was so much of abuse of Mohammed bin Salman, including by Joe Biden, I may add, before he was president. But the fact is, what happened? Mohammed bin Salman today has not only broken away from Wahhabism, he has also broken away from that very deep, relationship, almost a subsidiary relationship with the United States. Now he's having an independent foreign policy. He's dealing with various countries. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, all these countries have broken free of US domination of their foreign policy. And that is because of the errors committed by those who have fallen prey to the Wahhabi lobby and to a China lobby. I hope common sense prevails in Washington, because if it does not prevail, well, this will just be one way of helping China by but China wants a weak and destabilized government everywhere in South Asia, because it plays well, except the Pakistan military. And as things stand now, the most destabilized institution in South Asia is the Pakistan military, China's favorite. So I just want to say the Sino-Wahhabi lobby will be very unhappy. Patriotic Bangladeshis will be very happy. And India, and we in India, will be very happy, especially of this promise made that the Hindu population will not be persecuted prosecuted, but protected, because the Hindu population of Bangladesh has been steadily diminishing now, and it is now very much lower than what it was in just before the horrible genocide of the Hindus by the Pakistan military in 1970-71. The general can testify to the horrible genocide that was carried out. But since then also the Hindu population has been declining, and that is not the advantage of Bangladesh. It helps fanatics there. It helps extremism there. It is basically being manipulated by the Sino-Wahhabi lobby. So I'm delighted to hear that, and I do hope Sheikh Hasina will act much more strongly where these attacks on minorities are concerned than has been the case in the past few years, where I must say some of us have not been very happy at the way in which the Hindu population is still under threat in Bangladesh.
All right, Salahuddin Chaudhary.
Can I make a quick point to this?
Yes. I'll end with Salahuddin Chaudhary, but yes, Major General Dwivedi, you can quickly react.
Yes, I only like to reinforce what Professor Madhav Nalapada said, that when we, in Bangladesh 1971, when we fought the war, at the time the Hindu population was almost 20-21%. Today it has diminished to 8%. And they have been prosecuted, no doubt about it. I think there is one area which India needs to take it up. I think the sensitivity of our country needs to be addressed, and I'm sure Madam Sheikh Hasina will do that. She has promised that. And the one important point that I want to make is that a lot of forces will be working against India-Bangladesh friendship, right, as they brought out China, Pakistan, and other elements. This needs to be taken care of.
Okay. Salahuddin Chaudhary, last word to you. A closing comment.
Yes, I would like to echo what Madhavji said and Dwivedi said. During the 1971 war, 3 million people were slaughtered by Pakistani occupation forces. 300 to 400,000 women, majority of whom were Hindus, were sexually violated. So with their sacrifice, and with the help of our friendly neighbor India, we got liberated from the evil clutches of the Pakistanis. And we should not and never forget that. We should remain eternally grateful to India and our Hindus in this country. So, of course, as on 7th of January, we avoided Bangladesh becoming a neo-Taliban state, I would like to earnestly hope that our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina this time will take zero tolerance policy towards anything wrong towards Hindus.
My thanks to all of our guests for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.